build your self-esteem in a society that's constantly trying to bring it down. And I thought that was one of the most beautiful, poetic fucking questions that I'd ever heard. So much so that I decided to make a video about it. Hi John Paul. So I thought it was it was a beautiful question, and so it's definitely worth a video. So with that, in this day and age, it's definitely interesting when it comes to building your self-esteem, and it's quite obvious that our society has done a sufficient job of creating a bunch of people with low self-esteem, and that's obvious because many people there's a term, sex sells, and that within itself I think shows greatly the way that people view and perceive themselves and things. Just here on Instagram, you can scroll through and notice there are a lot of fleshy people posting and exposing themselves in immodest ways, not judging, just an observation. And there are a lot of people who have even gone so far as to get surgical procedures done on themselves in order to build their self-esteem and help them to feel better. So again, these are just prime examples of the state to which our society is really in. A lot of people feel that you need to have certain features in order to be deemed beautiful, and will go out of their ways in order to achieve these. So there's no judgment here. It's merely an observation. So I'm just throwing that out there. So with that said, it can be really hard to, also, this is something else that I do want to bring up. Even the society or the trend of filters, facial filters all over the apps, where they alter your face, they alter the way that you look, and even that, I feel, has a lot to do with the way people perceive themselves and their level of self-esteem. I think it could definitely be affected by that deeply, because there are a lot of people who don't even take regular photos anymore. Like, they won't take a photo without one of those face filters on. You know what I'm saying? So, hi guys. So with that, I'm just giving these examples as a way of saying, like, I understand that it's really hard to keep your head up, and it's really hard to feel good about yourself when there are all of these outside forces that are constantly making you think and feel that maybe you're not perfect. Maybe, like, you do have flaws, and if you look like this person, maybe you would achieve this, whatever appearance of success that they might be having. And so it can be difficult to keep your head up. Hi, Doni. It can be very difficult to keep your head up, and it can be very difficult to keep your self-esteem high. However, what I want to put emphasis on is that beauty is, how they say, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And just because you see people that have specific physical traits, or who have physical things, items, it doesn't make them any more or less beautiful. And that's something that really it's the most important. People think that beauty's this exterior thing, and really it's not, because what good is looking decent if you're a fucking terrible person, if you're rude, if you carry negativity, if you make people feel inferior everywhere you go? Well, then what good is looking good? It means absolutely nothing. It means shit, because people will always remember the way that you made them feel. And if you're constantly going out of your way and you're making other people feel like crap, well then who cares what you look like? And so it's not to put it as this like the way that you carry yourself isn't important. However, it's important to remember that just because society makes it seem like only people that look a certain way are successful or are happy, you have to stop and you have to really understand that this is not true. This is fucking fake, and it's this narrative that people try to portray. It's not the truth. Everyone that puts on this show of having this amazing life, they're not it's not as amazing as they make it out to be. It's not, and it's a fact. It's a fact. I am the absolute happiest I've ever been in my fucking life. I'm 30 years old. I'm the absolute happiest I've ever been. I am shoulder deep in this self-discovery journey. And I fucking cry frequently. I still have sad days, like 1 every 6. It happens. It happens. And the thing is, people need to understand that what's on the exteriors is not important. What's going on, it's not important. It's who you are, and it's what's going on the inside. That's what matters the most. So like, society, mainstream TV, whatever outlets, there's a plethora of them. All they can do is focus on the exterior. People don't like to go deep. People don't like to get to the mucky shit. People don't like to admit, hey, I cry once every 6 days. But it is what it is, and it's the truth, and it's real life. And if you walk around and you live life, and you are walking in your divine purpose, and as long as you go through your days with love, without intentionally hurting anyone, without intentionally, being rude and crass to people, and you don't go out of your way to make people feel bad, and then I'm sorry, you're beautiful as fuck, because those are rare traits. Those are very rare traits. You know what I'm saying? So it's all a matter of perception. It's all a matter of perception. So you just have to learn to be content and be comfortable in who you are. You have to stop, and you have to become grounded. You need to gain a sense of knowingness of oneself. Once you know yourself, it is so hard for anyone to rock you. It is so hard for anything to shake you. You can't be moved. You are immovable. Once you reach that state of knowing, get to that point. And I promise you, when people try and come at you, somebody was in my comments earlier today saying how I wasn't even a coach, and you need to get a certified coach, and all of these other things. And you know what? I am so content and so comfortable and so confident in my divine purpose and in my divine path and in the feedback that I have received along my journey, that I am fucking immovable. I am you cannot shake me. Get to that point. I'm not saying it's easy, and I'm not saying that shit's gonna happen overnight, but you have to reach a point where when you know that you are a good person, when you know that you live life with the best intent, and that you were living through your divine purpose, fuck what anybody has to say or think, or fuck what you perceive anyone to have said or to think about you. Those things aren't even important, you see. Again, it's not easy, it takes time, but you really just have to reach that point, and you just have to get so comfortable and so confident within your skin, and just gain that sense of knowing And that's why it's important that you spend time alone, and that you spend time with yourself, and that you work on your self-esteem, and that you take those time to acknowledge those weak spots that you have in your armor. You know what I'm saying? Like, I started off with the example earlier. It's obvious that it's really hard with physical self-esteem, and like, it's a lot. So many women are getting like ass shots, and like literally almost killing themselves just to have this body. And when I was younger, I remember when implants became a thing, and I've always been small-breasted. I've always been a tomboy, and I always used to feel like, oh my God, I would do that, and it would make me feel like a woman, and da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, there's nothing wrong with having these thoughts. There's nothing wrong with having these insecurities. There's nothing wrong with feeling this way. It's what you do with it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, yeah, okay, I get it. I don't have this now. I don't have this yet. I've never been, I haven't been a mother yet. You know what I mean? Like, that's a different stage of my life that's probably going to come when it comes. You see what I'm saying? So it's just like taking the time, the way this lady pulled up, I wish I could have recorded y'all. So like taking the time to acknowledge, like, okay, so that is an insecurity that I have, right? That's fine. Whatever. It is what it is. Like, don't judge yourself for the way that you feel. Don't judge yourself for the way that you think. Don't judge yourself for your insecurities. Take the time to acknowledge where the fuck they came from. You know what I'm saying? So like, using myself as an example. Okay, so when I was younger, I was a tomboy, and I had this friend, and she had right? And all the boys liked her, right? It was like all the boys liked her. And so I thought that it had something to do with, her breast size. And it probably did, but even then we're like fucking young, so who cares? It's a really immature thing. But again, even then, do you see that? Do you see that process that I just went through right now? See, the thing is that, like, see guys, I'm not gonna lie, I've been on the journey for such a long time that I don't even catch myself sometimes. But that's like 4 steps right there that just happened. Acknowledging what that insecurity is, taking a step back to say, okay, it probably originated when I was X amount of years old. This is where it stemmed from. And then going from there and saying that even within itself, that belief system of, well, the boys liked her because she had breasts. Well, even then, taking a step back from that, that's an immature way of thinking and feeling, because who the fuck wants somebody that just cares about the way that you look? That's an immature, you see what I'm saying? So that's like, that's fucking shadow work. That is taking the time to acknowledge these things. Like, this is where it came from, this is how it originated, and this is how it made me feel. You see what I'm saying? So what the fuck am I going to do about it? And then you're like, well, I'm going to learn to accept that, again, anyone who wants me for my physical body only, well, then they don't matter. It's not that important, because it's a superficial thing. It's not important. So, yeah, I don't know. But so, like I said, somebody asked me like how to build your self-esteem in a society that's constantly trying to bring it down. And really, I know I went all over the board with this one, but like building your self-confidence and building that sense of knowing within is really, they're 2 of the most important things that I can say, because again, if you're able to sit down with yourself and you're able to accept and admit these things, a lot of times we're too embarrassed to even admit these things, these insecurities that we have. But it's a big step, you know what I'm saying? And it's one of the biggest steps. So yeah, I hope that this was helpful, and I'm happy to be of service. Donnie, if you've learned anything, I'm honored. Sometimes, yeah, I just go on and I just get on this thing where I'm just like, I just go off and I don't even know what I'm saying half the time. I just don't remember it after I'm done. Anyway, I'm about to go into the store and pick up a couple things, but I just wanted to get on and I just wanted to share that because it was a really good question. Yeah. But as always, my absolute honor. Until next time, my friend. Bye.